So, good evening, dear participants. Welcome again. And we have with us Dr. Rao from University of Colorado. So, sir, am I audible to you, Dr. Rao?
Yes, you are. Yes.
So, sir, now it's all yours.
Great. All right. Let me share the screen. Can everybody see the screen okay?
Yes, sir.
My voice is clear?
Pretty visible and nicely audible.
Cool, cool. All right, so today we will cover a little bit more on dictionary. We left off with some good advancement yesterday, and I'll talk about tuples, and then we'll go into for loop and while loop. So any questions, any kind of a small doubts that you have from yesterday's class, we can take 2-3 minutes to clear them out, and then I can go into a little bit more kind of terms and kind of a language in dictionaries. Okay. From collections import default date, fruit price is equal to default date. From collections. The following is a type error. First argument must be callable. Have you wait? I'll look into this, and I'll probably I'll actually write it on the Google Doc, and you can then put more details in there. I hope Praveen has shared the Google Drive link. Can you confirm?
Yes, sir. I have shared the Google Drive link in the WhatsApp group.
Okay. So let's discuss a little bit more today on dictionaries. We can go back to what dictionary we built last time. Let's take this simple dictionary that we created. I'll put this in the chat link here also, so that you guys can copy and work on it. The basic dictionary that we just last time. I'll put the whole thing in one shell and share with you guys. I wanna hear okay from you guys that you're able to run this, so that I can proceed. Just say yes, and then I can move on from here. Great. Perfect. Awesome. So now when we say fruit price ticked and hit enter, like run this one. So we are seeing all this dictionary nicely formatted here. Now there are a couple of terms related to dictionary that you guys should know that will be useful. So let's say when I say, as we discussed yesterday, that dictionaries store data in a key and value kind of a pair fashion, right? So definitely dictionary has to have the keys, right? So how do we access all the keys from a dictionary? For example, all the kind of a word from the literal dictionary, right? So we say that fruit price ticked dot. Again, this fruit price ticked is an object, and when you press dot and hit tab, then you get all these kind of methods that this particular object has. So you see that keys, are you all able to do this? Just say yes. If I hear a couple of yes, then it'll be perfect. Some more yes. Because I remember at some point of time, people had problem using dot. Okay, okay, cool. So I hope everything is working on your end. So when we do this and hit enter, then what you see is a list of keys. So you see this here, we first defined an empty dictionary, and then we said, okay, here is my Apple key, and then I have the prices for Apple in this 4 months, right? And again, I have this banana key, and I have prices for banana, right? But the master or the primary key is what? Only 2 of them are there, right? So what if I say, if I have to access Apple, so I say here Apple, right? Then I get this, right? So if I say here dot keys, what happens? What I'll get? Any answers? We'll get the months, right? Yes. So here now you're seeing this nesting happening, right? So when you hit Apple, this particular chunk of code is returning this dictionary, right? And then you are saying, give me the keys of those dictionaries, right? So it is giving you the month. What if you had a list in place of let's say here I say not fruit, and is just 1 2 3 4 5, something like this, and I say fruit price take not fruit is equal to this will still again run, because you see not fruit is just an object which is a list, and you're putting in a key value fashion. So not fruit, and then you're just putting the value right here as a list. Now if you say fruit price not fruit dot keys, what will happen? I want to hear answer from you guys without I run this. Anybody can answer this one? All right, I'll run this. So yeah, so this is where that is why I kind of want you guys to practice this. So one answer I got is 1 2 3 4 5. Now remember, this not fruit is the key for this particular dictionary. But what is this guy? It is a list, and list does not store data in a key value pair kind of a system, right? It just adds object in an indexed manner. So at position 0 you have 1, at position 1 you have 2, and so on, right? But there is no key in here, right? So when you press this, so what do you get? Again, this attribute error. So Python is very smart in dictating helping the user that what kind of error you are making, right? So list object doesn't have the attribute keys. It's the dictionary that have this keys object, right? A key attribute. So it is simply a list. So you can't actually call this particular function keys for this particular object. But if you do it for banana, it will give you that answer. Is everyone able to run this one, or you have any questions here? Sure. If I don't hear anything, then I think everything has worked on your end. Now, so this is keys, right? So you're only getting the left hand part, right? For example, Jan, Feb, you're not getting the values. But now Python also offers you another way to one more function, basically, to actually get the values also in a pair fashion, like key value, key value, key value, right? So if I say fruit prices tick dot items, right, then you're getting this, let's say here, this whole thing, you see. Now I want you guys to actually put some thought here. I want to take a pause for a minute to explain this whole thing. You see, this items is actually returning you a list of objects. You see this square bracket here, right? And then you have a parenthesis here, right? And then your actual data is now right there, right? So this parenthesis is something we are going to talk about just now in tuples, okay? And we'll see what are the advantage of tuples and kind of a non-iterable kind of objects. And so you have a list of these tuples and where these kind of a data are stored. So you are actually seeing everything now when you press items, right? So the reason I'm going through all this, because we are going to learn for loop and while loop, and that's when this will be very important to actually how we walk through the dictionary and list, right? Knowing these keys and item will be very helpful. Now, so let's talk more about this tuple thing, okay? So how many of you have this crisp idea of mutable and immutable objects? I think we have gone through in a couple of sessions. Let me know if you have any questions. Like, what is the definition of mutable object? Can anyone just write it, one or two answers, and then I'll move on, or I'll explain. Mutable values can be changed, yes, changeable. And when your object is immutable, you can't really change them, right? So tuple is something that is immutable, okay? And that it has many uses. We'll learn through the sessions, but I just want to introduce today what are the tuples, okay? So very first tuple is something, the syntax is this parenthesis, right? And when you write something in here, 1, 2, name, or let's say a very good name, very good place, right? So it is again taking going in the theme of Python, that it is not checking what kind of data you're putting in, right? You are putting integer and then string, but it's not complaining, because Python is no check language, right? So we have known the curly braces, that is for dictionary, square bracket for list, and this parenthesis is for tuples. Now the tuple is something, once you define it, you can't change the element of those that tuple, okay? So for example, if I am to say how do we actually access now the tuples, is the elements of tuple. So again, indexing works in the same fashion, like, yes, tuple, you can say that, yeah, true. Tuple is an immutable list, you can say that, yes. So let's say if we say 0, then we get 1. Of course, at 0 index, you have this, then 1, 2, right? And then whatever, like, sorry, 2 is this thing, right? The advantage of this being immutable is very many. For example, when you define the keys of a dictionary, right? This particular whatever content that you put in this particular square bracket, they have to be immutable. And we'll go through this very idea. I know I'm spending like 5 minutes here, but it's really worthy spending this time to understand the language and the application of this. So let's say we take example dictionary, example dict, very simple dictionary we take. We define the dictionary first because we are doing this basic dictionary. Everyone should be able to run this because I'm seeing the complaints on the default dict kind of a thing. Oh, the screen is not visible.
It's visible, Dr. Rao. It's
No,
visible.
no, but Mehtab is complaining, you know. I wonder, is it is the font size or let me see if I.
It's visible.
Mehtab, can you reply back one more time if it is visible or not?
Font size is okay. Dr. Rao, font size okay.
Yeah.
Might be there are local internet issues.
Oh, local in. Okay, 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 okay. Anyway, you will share the recordings, right?
Mehtab is saying now it's visible. So
Oh, okay, okay. Maybe the connection issues, maybe that. I see. Sure. So now we have this example dict, we defined it, and then we say example dict. And now I want to do a little kind of a quiz here. So let's say I said define a is equal to 5. So a is now a variable, right? And I say example dict a is equal to 5 is a good number. Okay. Will this run? Oh, there is no difference as per se. You can use this interchangeably. Basically, when there are a couple of advantages of double quotes, we'll go into that a little bit more when we are doing for loop and a kind of a string manipulations. We'll discuss that. But just for defining a string, it's fine to use single quote in a literal places. Let's see. Yeah, so 5 is a good number. So this ran, right? Now, what if I do a is equal to 6 and then say I run this and give me the answer example dict. What will be the answer for this? Will this return 5 is a good number or what will happen? No such dict, I mean, no such key, right? Okay. I would like you guys to answer without running this so that you have this exercise done. Mental exercise. Okay. Error. Yeah. So the reason you're getting the error because so when you defined a is equal to 5, so what is the right hand side? It's a literal immutable thing, right? 5 is just 5, you can't change it, you know. So when you said example dict a, it took 5 and then put the value in here. 5 is a good number. You can assign another value to a, but what example dict took the key is 5. Okay, so when you say example dict no, let me run a is equal to 6, because one may argue that, oh, I said example dict a is equal to 5 is a good number, so whatever a is, I should get that number. I should get this particular answer, right? But it's not that. When you're kind of populating a dictionary, it is taking the value and then defining this like putting that in the dictionary, right? It's not storing the variable as a key. Okay, so if it was storing variable as a key, then you should have gotten the answer like saying example dict a. So it's complaining, right? Even if you put example dict 6, it will complain because there is no key of that, right? So this is important in terms of concept, right? Now, so the idea I wanted to convey here is that this key is always immutable. You can't really alter the key. Okay, that's so. To change the value to 6, what do we do? Oh, actually, you have to insert another. Basically, you can't really change that entry. You have to say 6 is equal to 6 is a tricky number, something like that, right? Then you can actually access, but there is no way you can if first define a is equal to 5, store it, and then access it using 6, right? So the idea is that the key is immutable. So now this now you got this concept of immutable. So can tuple be the key? Because tuple is also immutable, right? String is also immutable. We have been working on string, say apple, banana, fruit, whatever, right? So we have been working on that. So how about if I say I want to put tuple as a key? Is it possible? Any answers? Any wild guess? Yes, no, it doesn't matter. We'll just practice it, right? Yeah, I think so. That's good. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So now comes the fun part in terms of like, you know, yesterday I was just giving you a glimpse of how can we define a nested dictionary given like you have very complex data sets, right? So a key within a key, like primary, secondary, tertiary key, right? So let's say take this example, right? Write this example here, right? We have this here. I just kind of pasted it here so that it's visible. Then we want to actually create this fruit price tick again, but now in a different way. Since we have this liberty of using tuple uh, to actually define as a key, then can I say this fruit price tick, and then inside I say tuple and say, since we were doing this apple, and then I can say jam, right? Then is equal to 30. So now the thing is like you are having this information right here and then the price, right? So this is working, right? Is everybody able to run this? Just say just hit yes, and then I'll learn if things are going okay on your end. Perfect. Good. Uh, so now basically there are different ways, as you are seeing here, to actually create dictionaries. Here you are using this kind of advantage of tuples to define this complex data set, this basically nested keys, you know, to create this dictionary, while not complicating the dictionary, but using the tuples as the kind of core thing here, right? So basically now you can actually do all these things here. You can permute this guy based on this, and basically populate this, right? So that's. Can you explain the structure of tuples? Okay, yeah. As literally put by I think Indrajit, right? That it's like an immutable list. You can put things in the tuple when you are defining it, but then after that you can't change it, right? So another tuple is, sorry, you can't change this. So if I understand correctly, when you say structure, you meant to say the syntax. It's simply like list. You just replace the square bracket with the parenthesis. Items are separated by the comma, right? Right? Yeah. And then once you have defined it, there is no way you can change it, right? Because they are immutable. Okay. If you made any errors while defining it, there is an alternate way. Oh, can you give me a use case where immutability is an advantage? Oh, yeah. This is what we were actually talking about in case of dictionary, because keys are immutable, and you can use take this advantage of tuple to define this complex keys, because you can, for example, here you can just change January, February, like to all months and put the values in here without defining complex dictionary. So use the tuple. Another kind of advantage is like some structure in organization are really fixed. So when you are actually working on those kind of data sets where the structure is fixed, rather than defining as a list, you should actually define as a tuple, right? Then it's better to like, so that user can't change it, you know. Yeah, sure. So we have covered a bit more on dictionaries, tuples. So let's go into the fun part today in for loop and while loop. So it's always, when you think of programming, in your mind runs in like, it's not one single instance, right? It's always months are 12, right? Days are 30. So by nature, you have to kind of deal with data or work in a situations where this iteration is really the kind of it's natural. You have to work in that fashion. So um, these loops help you to actually iterate through all these kind of type of data sets. And the idea is that, oh, you want to extract some information pertaining to what your needs are, but you are given this whole ensemble or the whole universe of the data, but based on your requirements, you actually want to pull the information from there, right? So to pull that information, you still have to actually go through the whole universe of data and then get your information. So the looping is basically helps you to actually traverse this whole universe and get your information, right? For example, we'll just practice, we'll take a simple list and then work on it. For example, let's say we have 10 numbers in a list. Let me make a couple of cells down so that it's clear. Let's make this. So my first list. Let's assume it is a list of prime numbers 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13. Let's just take this number, or we just go to 20, okay, and 19, right? So we have this my first list. You can define your own list, doesn't matter. Whatever I'm writing here, it's all fine if you do the same, or you can have your own list. Just let me know when you define your list first, and then we'll first start with the for loop, and then we'll go into the while loop. Done. Great. Let me hear a couple of done, then I'll just proceed. Perfect. Cool. So let's discuss a little bit first on the syntax. Now, the question here is, let me just, we just want to talk about basic statistics. We know that this is the list of numbers. So can we ask the following? Sum of the list, right, to maximum of the list. but using the for loop. So minimum of the list or average of the list, right? Maybe I say, to be more accurate, some of the values in the list. Right. So let's work on these two problems, sum and average. We'll go into minimum maximum later. There are already API nice function existing, but we want to learn how actually it does the sum and how it does the average, right? So we'll first learn. So as I was saying, that you have this universe of the data set, you want to get your information. So the information is now the sum. So you actually want to go from index 0 to all length of the list, and then actually add all the elements, right? So what is the syntax of for loop? So you say for variable in whatever your iterable object is. So here, what is my iterable object in the 48 shell? What is the name of that iterable object? It says my first list, right? Yes. So you say for variable in my first list, and it has to be followed by a colon. Let me know if everybody has this. And once you enter this, yes, once you enter this, then you see this change here. The mouse or the cursor didn't go all the way to the beginning. It is now 4 spaces down the line, and then starting from there. So this is where I wanted to talk about indentation also. So every programming language has their own syntax, right? Starting from Fortran, then C, C++, or even machine languages. In the earlier times, indentation was not kept or not enforced, right? You could write your code with the correct syntax, but like spacing, in one line you can put 2 spaces, in another line you put 6 spaces. Still the compiler will not complain. Oh, your code is still fine. It's okay. Whatever you are doing is fine. But as we have progressed in like for example Python, right? Even in case of R, the syntax is not that strong, like the indentation is not that strong, but Python it's enforced that you have to follow a defined indentation. For example, here it's a, you see this, when I pressed enter here, then I'm having 4 spaces. If I count this from here, 1 2 3 4, that's where I am, you see. And then so I would highly recommend everyone to um, stick with spaces as indentation, because when you code and somebody else is, let's say, exporting or importing your code in some other development environment, if you use some different keys, for example tab for indentation, you see when I hit tab, then it is going like 4 spaces down the line, but in one step. You see, when I press the delete button, it goes 4 steps back, just 1 step back with the wider space. But here, sorry, here is also going, I don't know why. Okay, but I in my I would recommend that when you're working on like terminal or not on a Python notebook, then start like keep a habit of just pressing 4 spaces for the indentation, and then start coding. Okay. Is screen moving? I don't think so. Let me know if it is okay right now. Okay. So So Jupyter is basically giving it this freedom or doing it the job of indentation by itself. Okay. So now the syntax is where we were, for variable in my first list, and then say I can say print I. We'll work on the sum, just print variable, right? So see what is happening.
Can Doctor up the slide? Yeah, now is okay. Okay, thank you.
Oh, sorry. Okay. I just moved it. Okay. So now see what is happening. You had this, you had your first list here, and now the way it is printing is it's going at index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and it's just printing all the values from there, right? Now our job is to actually do the sum of these values, right? So if imagine how will you actually store the sum when you are like literally programming this? Then you have to first kind of let's say there is some s, right? That that is a variable where you are actually storing the sum results, right? What will it start with? Any guess? 0. Okay, 0 0. Perfect, right? Because there is no sum right now, so it's just 0. You can't say negative. Negative is also a number, right? S is equal to 0 is something that we should start with, right? Now, since the variable is now iterating through the list and it is giving you the value 1 at a time, I can say S is equal to S plus variable. Let me know if this is so what will happen. Let's say I'll move the list here so that it is visible to everyone very nicely. Okay, I'll move the screen up here, right? So let's start with a very simple case. I'll cut this up and save it for later. Okay. Can you please repeat the last step? You meant to say the sum is equal to 0?
Yes, why you doing the sum is equal to 0? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'll explain this. So see, you want to add all these elements, right? So that's why I'm making this very simple. So let's say you in the list you only had one element, just one. Okay. So the result is what? You know, the result will be 1, right? You have to start with 0 because imagine that there was only one element in this list. Then you have to, each time you have to add, right? So where you will add, right? You have to initiate something, right? Right here, you can say, oh, I can initiate with none, right? But none is again, if you go back to the sessions where Avinash was kind of going through all the variables and data types, right? Here, since it is a numerical list, you want to add every number each time, but then there is a variable where you have to actually store that value, right? Imagine you had to print the sum every time, right? You have to put that in a variable which will keep adding. That's why we have this variable concept, right? Because you don't know what it will be at every step. It'll keep changing. That's why it's variable, right? So what other thing that you can initiate with? I think anything else apart from 0 will be wrong, right? Because you're starting with, you haven't looked at any entry in the list. So your variable is still sitting at 0, right? Just like we teach the normal kids, you draw 1 line, 2 line, 3 line, something like that to teach how this 1, 2, 3 works, right? So 0 is like no line, right? So then S is equal to 0. And then you say for variable in my first list, S is equal to S plus variable. So what will happen is this 2 lines will keep on running until it finishes the list. Okay. Since there is only one element, then it will run one time and then it will add this s that is 0 right now and add the variable, which is 1 at the first element, right? And it is again assigning back to the s. So this is important. We can take a pause here and learn how it is working. So if I say print s here, then you're getting 1. So what is happening in this particular statement is you started with 0. Now you're saying that, okay, I started with 0, but whenever I find something, I will add in that, okay, and store that guy. So you're storing again in s only, right? That's why you were saying s is equal to s plus variable. So in assignment, this equal to sign is an assignment operator, right? As you have gone through the variable and data types, right? So the right side will be calculated first and it will be assigned to the left side, right? So you said s is equal to 0 first, and then you are saying that assign s plus variable to s, right? So don't be confused that, oh, s is whatever s, but why this s plus variable, like how can these two different things will be the same, right? It's not a check, it's not equal to, okay? It's not a check, it is assignment. So you will actually first get done with this part and then assign it to s, right? So let's say now we populate this to 2, then we are getting 3. If we put 5, then we are getting 8, right? Can't we directly add up all the variables? Is there any other way? So when you say all the variables, what do you mean? Like how did, when you say variables, you have to define it, right? So where did you define that? Yeah, the numbers. So you are saying the values. So how do you add the values? We can do it in other ways, but our motive right now is to actually understand for loops. I started with very simple examples so that we can learn actually how this part and the syntax works. For loop is actually designed for actually doing many things, right? That's natural that you will do a for loop. But to understand the syntax, we are just doing this exercise, right? If you have further questions, you can put it on Google Doc, but in the interest of time, I should keep moving. Right.
Dr. Rao, we can define my first list by any other function.
Any other function? Oh,
Like-
yeah, like if the function is returning a list, why not? So you are saying function as in
a is equal to like that. I can define by the a is equal to 1, 2, like that. It can work for the.
oh,
loop.
like wait. You're saying s is equal to or my first list equal to?
My first list is equal to. I don't want my first list. I want to a is equal to 1, 2, that like that. It will work.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, something like this.
Yes.
Oh yeah, so see, this is a variable, right? Whatever you put in, so a is now a list with 1, 2, 3, 5 as an as its 3, 4, 5 as their its element. So you just replace this with a. It's all good now. So it will print 15. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. Right? Make sense? So here the syntax. Yeah. Let me just take a little bit effort here to kind of put it something like this. So for is something that you can't change, and then here is the variable where in. Here it can be any iterable object. Okay, iterable object, right? Sorry, this one is weird. You have to say something like this. So let's say if I say here a is a tuple, okay, right? It will still print 15 because this is iterable. There are indexes where this particular for can actually go walk through and extract the value, right? Does that make sense? What if I had a, let's say I wanted to say what is my spending for Apple in these 4 months? So we'll now walk through this. Okay, so we had these Apple prices for 4 months. So let's just put it here. right? So now this is a dictionary, but still you can actually iterate through their keys, right? So how do we now actually practice this? Let's say apple prices is here, right? So as you know, that dictionary store values in what way? Key value pair, right? Right. So you have to actually walk in a different way, right? You remember how did we do the item thing? So I say for apple prices here, this is the dictionary, right? And how it is storing the value, month and then price. So you can define something like this: month and price, right, in apple prices. And then what you are doing is, since now you have the access to price, you can say this. Sorry, no, I have to say here items dot items, right? So now basically you spend 200 whatever currency or your currency is in apple in these 4 months. I want to take a pause here because this is important to understand. You see what happened here is, here you have like two things now. So it is this particular after for, whatever you are writing before in is actually how this iterable object is returning the the like how it basically iterates, you know. So for example, item is actually iterating like a key value pair, right? So it will give you month and it will give you price. What if I say I want to iterate like keys? Okay, so what will now what is now you're getting? When you say keys, then you will only get January, February, March, April, right? You will not get the values, right? So you don't have this liberty of the price access right away. Am I making sense? Let me know if you are having any questions, because these are very critical part that we are actually walking through right now. Cool. I'll have this chat on here somewhere. Right. In case if you have any questions, I hope this will not interrupt the video. Right. Okay. So let's say you said, oh, I don't want to walk through the items.
Oh, sorry, disturb you. Actually, I'm not able to understand why we start with S is equal to 0.
Oh, it's
You explain, but maybe I'm not able to get that time. Can you repeat it, that why we are doing the S is equal to 0? Because if S is equal to 0 will do, that will work only for the plus. If you do the multiply, other function will not work maybe. Like
oh yeah, of course. For multiplication, you have to start with 1 because you haven't multiplied with anything, right? So you want to kind of, let's say if you had to multiply all the numbers, of course you will not start with 0. Since we are doing, our target is sum. Sorry, I should have been more clear. Yeah, you are very right. I don't know your name here. It's only showing CM, but yeah, you are absolutely right.
Yes.
Rakesh.
Yes.
Yes. Sure. So you are very right. Since we are doing this sum, so sum always start with 0, right? Either in your list you have negative number or whatever, but you will add up that negative number. Doesn't matter. But you always start with 0. But for multiplication, you always start with 1, right? Great. So yeah, here I was going through this. This was the items clear to everyone when we did this. When we did this 200 was, I want to hear a couple of yeses so that I know everyone is getting it. Perfect. Cool. Now, so now basically now see this behavior of this for loop is as a function of what is being returned from here, right? You are getting value there. Can you please put your code snippet on Google Doc? I'll work on it because I want to cover the while loop also. So I just want to go through this keys, and then I'll move into the while loop. It's important to actually cover that too. So now you see, let's practice this first. What keys return? Apple prices dot keys. It will only return keys. Sorry. It will only return Jan, Feb, March, April, right? So it is returning a list with the one element, like just like we have this list of the numbers, we have the list of the months here, right? So you can't really have two variables in here, right? If you run this now, it will throw error because you see too many values to unpack. See this value error because you're saying, oh, like you put two variables, but you are in a hope that you are supposed to get two variables from this call, but you are only getting one in terms of months. You're not getting a pair like January and 230, right? So then you have to actually settle with this. So for month in apple.keys, now how do you get the value? So first you have to actually get the value before you add it, right? So price in that month is equal to, how do we access now the price? Since we already have this Apple prices dictionary, then we can say we have this month as a variable because this is iterating through the dictionary, right? So we say month, right? So now we get this price in that month. So we just add that type, price in that month, right? Then we get 200. Is this clear? Because this is really important. Like the concept of the list and the dictionary, because this is something that you will use day in, day out when you're coding in Python. And you will by nature, you will create list. By nature, you will create dictionaries, and then you have to actually walk through them. And for loop is something that you will definitely use to walk through them, right? And given this 8 minutes now, I actually want to cover while loops. Let me go a little bit down. So why, since we already have one kind of a one, what do you say, one tool in our hand to iterate through the universe, why do we need another another kind of a looping kind of a tool, But think of a case where you don't know what is your list, what is your dictionary. Like there is a stream of data coming in, and then you have to respond based on your requirements or whatever condition is met. Then you say, oh yeah, this is now accepted, and like we close the program, something like that. For example, let's say you were not given this list and you designed a program that where a second class kid is trying to learn a summation, right? And he's not comfortable putting all this in, and he say, oh, give me a screen where I'll put the numbers and I'll hit say, okay, I'm done, and then you give me the sum, right? That's when the while loop comes in, okay, where you have this stream of data coming in, and then you and then there is a break point where say, oh, a condition is met, we are satisfied with that condition, and then we basically operate on whatever information we got till that that point. Okay, so let's do a very simple exercise again. What is the syntax of that? So you say while and then condition, whatever condition here. So while condition and then your code, right? Till when, whenever this condition is met, okay, this will keep running. This whole code inside this while loop will keep running. Okay. So let's say if you put while, this will be a little bit kind of a shock in terms of when you run this. Let me only run this and you guys just see while true, because this is any condition returns what, true or false, right? So let's say if I say trying a while loop is equal to 5, and I say trying while loop is greater than 1, right? So as you have gone into variable and data types with Avinash, he was giving you all these combinations of and in all this, how do we get this if condition and everything, right? What will this return? True, right? And then you say print this is a good city. My city is the best city. Okay. Right. So what will happen here basically is this will keep on running, you know. See what is happening? It's running. It's just running. Okay. It's not stopping. But you can use this kernel, this square box here to actually kill it. Okay. You see, now it has kind of stopped. Okay. I hope it stopped. Sometimes it's very dangerous. So let's basically add one more shell. I think it stopped. So you have to be very careful when you're writing while loops, because when you're putting that condition, you should also have a breakpoint in your code. Okay, so that you meet that condition and then it breaks. Okay, for example, I say, let's design this tool that a kid want to learn a sum, right? So I've actually worked on this a little bit. I'll explain everything to you guys. I didn't want to. So again, this something, right? So we are starting with s is equal to 0. Again, this I just literally put true because I want this to run whenever till whatever time the condition is not met, right? So what we are doing here is, let me put this one to the chat channel so that everyone can copy, and let me know if you have kind of put this in shell. How to stop the loop is this is square thing. Like, are you running into this infinite loop? Let me just know. Then you have to hit this guy. This is square. It says when you hover on this, it will say kill kernel or something like that. Interrupting kernel. You see this? Has everybody has this code pasted in one of the Jupyter shell? Just I want to hear a couple of yeses. Oh, great. Now we will see this application of while, which is different from for, you see, because in for you had this defined list or dictionary or something iterable object, where here is no such kind of a thing, right? But still, this is an application that you may need. For example, here this a is equal to input. I hope everybody understood this particular section, while true. So here is the condition, and when it is true, then the whole thing will keep running. Okay, unless it you put a break inside. Okay. So I'm saying this a is equal to input. Input as in like it will take user input. This is a function, very easy function provided by Python to get input from the screen, you know. So we'll just practice this. And I put a check here that if a is not equal to end, then s is equal to s plus float a. And then let me know if you guys have gone through this if else condition with Avinash. I for some reason I was not there in that session. Are you guys familiar with if else conditions? I want to hear a couple of yes. Oh no, oh sorry. Okay. My bad. I should introduce this in a very. So you know, either loop or conditions, you know, there is a consistent format. For example, this if else condition, right? So if, and then you put condition, right? If condition is met, then again this colon thing is kind of a common. Either you go in while, for. This is the way to say that my logic is done, and do whatever you want to do after this logic or condition is met. So if this condition is true, the code will go inside, the program will go inside, and whatever your code is, so let's say if I say I is equal to 5, right? And then if I say if it is an odd number, I percentage 2 is equal to 1, then I say print I is an odd number, right? And then else, else I say print I is an even number. We're just practicing very simple. I wanted to give you a highlight on the code, on the syntax. So you see, we put I equal to 5, we are checking. So this is the condition. And if it is met, you go inside. If it is not met, then you go in the else, right? So it says 5 is an odd number, right? If you put 4 here, then it will go into the else, and say 4 is an even number, right? So syntax wise, you only have to remember that this condition, and this condition could be very complicated ones that Avinash was going through. You can have and something like that, like you can put this here and I is equal to 5, something like this, you know. So these all complications you guys can work out, but I just wanted to give you a highlight on the if else syntax. So what the motivation of doing this here is to actually see the application of if else in this while loop, right? And so here we are putting this break thing, because by theory, since you put true, this will keep on running unless you put a break. So this is the break that we are saying. If a is not equal to end, then you get the float part of, or you take the float and of a and then add it. I'll explain why float. If not end, then if it is end, right, then it breaks, right? So let's do this. Let's practice this, how it is working. Okay. And I'll go back to the code and how it is working. So you see this now asking, you see when you see the star is saying that it's still running. Okay. And then it is telling me to give, it is actually asking for an input. It is stuck here. Okay. So I say, okay, I want to actually get a sum of 2, 3, 4. So I say put 2 here. Then it is again asking me for another input, right? Because when I put 2 here, it is not equal to end, right? So it is not equal to end. So it will go inside and then take a float. It will typecast the float and add it. Since we started with sum is equal to 0, now s is actually 2. We are not printing it. Let's actually interrupt this, right? And actually print s here inside. Okay, let's see how it works. Okay. I'm going a little bit overboard, but I think this is important. See, it is printing that 2, right? If I put 3 here, then now it is printing 5, because it is adding 2 and 3 and then giving you 5, right? When I put 7 here, it will keep on asking for that number, okay, unless you hit end. Okay. So then once you hit end, that condition is now like here it is false, then it will go into the break and then it will just end. You see, now star is gone and it is now 67, right? Does this make sense to everyone? Just press yes, no. I want to hear the response on this one. Perfect. If you have any questions, sir, explain it again. Oh, sure. So I hope this part is clear to you, Yashwant. While true, so the logic here is that while is used in cases where you don't know what is thing coming in, like you don't have information in your hand. You only know your your idea to execute based on the stream of the data that is coming in. Okay, so that's why it is enabling you. So for example, here a is equal to input, right? So here you don't know what is coming in. I mean, you are actually waiting for the user to give you that input, right? So every time the kid is putting this number, he is learning that, oh, I gave 2, then the output is 2, then 3, then output is 5, because it is adding 2 plus 3, right? What did I put just after that is the condition to actually come out of this loop, right? To break it, because it is telling that it will run forever, because it's true, right? But you don't want to go in that situation that your program is running it forever, right? Sometimes kid is now like, let's say he's tired and then he wants to go for lunch, he will just say end, and then he'll just go for his food, right? So that is why you have to put this condition to actually break it, right? So what I'm saying is, if a is not equal to n, means the kid has not pressed n, so you keep giving him the output of the sum that that has happened so far, right? So what you do is, you took the input in variable a. What we are doing here is, remember, when you are giving input from the screen, it is always taken as string. Okay, when you are let's say on a bare scale, right? Not using any fancy tools on anything, functions. When you're reading a file, it is just bunch of string from a text file, right? So you can't add a string to a number, right? That will give an error, right? So that's why we are typecasting to float a, because it is possible that the kid can say 5.5, right? So for the safe purposes, we make it float, right? And then we added it, and then we are printing it every time. But once the kid put end, then it goes into the else, and it's a break. So break means it will break this whole thing and come out of it, and then it will print the s, the final s, right? So you see there are two 12s, because we were actually printing it here also, just for the illustration purposes. You can actually ignore this one to actually avoid this thing, right? I hope this was clear. I know my target, I think we can go more into like uses of for and while loop, but the target was to actually give you the whole syntax and walk you through a couple of examples. We can, I think next session will be conducted by Avinash. There, I think you will get to use, like you will get the hang of all these concept that you have learned so far in like a kind of a practical applications. Like we have kind of learned the core parts of Python. Now it's more like an application that we will do later on. So clear from my side, Praveen. That was it for today.
Okay, sir.
You guys can put questions on the Google Doc, and we'll try to answer it before the class or anytime soon.
So thanks, Dr. Rao, for today's session. And
of course,
tomorrow will be, I think, Dr. Avinash session. And Rucha is saying very nice explanatory session, sir. Thanks. So Rucha,
thanks, Rucha. Thanks.
Mahima, Jikwan, all are saying Teddy. So, so all are impressed by your teaching style. And
I'm glad.
and of course,
I
am also impressed by your teaching style, sir. So it's a honor that you deliver on our platform.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I will share the video recording of this session of Dr. Rao with you as soon as possible with this file. So we believe that all the participants are enjoying learning with Dr. Satyanarayan. And now I seek permission of sir for ending today's session.
Yes, please go ahead.
We will share the file as well as recording as soon as possible, so that you people.
Oh yeah, I'll. So I would request you guys to be careful on this one, running this one. Maybe I'll delete this one, or I'm just letting you know that you should hit this guy, because this will keep on running, and it will harness your memory or something like that. Okay.
So thank you, sir. Good night.
Sure, sure. Yeah, I'll just pass it on to Praveen right away, and Isaac.